to St. Louis, the one-time home of the greatest show on turf. That is a nickname that could be used to describe the Rams' opponent today, the New Orleans Saints. Hi, everybody, and welcome alongside the two-time Pro Bowl quarterback, Trent Green. I am Chris Rose. And Trent, the Saints 8-0 for the first time in their history. They're on pace to score the most points in a single season in NFL history as well. And the guy that makes them go, obviously, is their quarterback, Drew Brees.
It's no secret that Drew Brees is the driving force behind this explosive Saints offense. But the difference between last year's #1 offense and this year's #1 offense is the balance that they have on the offensive side of the ball. They've got a triple threat in the backfield with Pierre Thomas, Mike Bell, and Reggie Bush. And right now they're about 50-50 in terms of play calling between run and pass. So that keeps the unbalanced look for the defense and how they're going to attack this Saints offense.
Well, that Saints defense can score as well. 7 touchdowns this year. They're a little short-handed, though, in the secondary. Both Darren Sharper and Jabari Greer inactive because of injuries. As far as the Rams go, they come into today's game 1-7, still trying to feel their way under their new coach, Steve Spagnuolo. Maybe the best option, though, today is to play keep away from the Saints.
They have a much different balance to their offense than the Saints do. Right now, they're relying heavily on Steven Jackson. Mark Bulger is getting adapted to new offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur's West Coast offense. And right now, they're really leaning heavily on Steven Jackson. He's 3rd in the league in rushing, but he's also 2nd on this team in pass reception. So they've got to get the ball in Steven Jackson's hands.
And Jackson, just 112 yards shy, becoming the Rams' 3rd all-time leading rusher. We have got much more coming your way from St. Louis, but first, a word from the Verizon Football Zone. Chris Rose and Trent Green back in St. Louis, getting you ready for kickoff. The Rams lead the all-time season series, and they won the last meeting back in 2007 when the then 0-8 Rams went into New Orleans and won 37-29. Well, here are the key Yellow Book moments to look for in today's game.
For the Saints, it's going to be no turnovers. They've lived on the edge the last 3 weeks with turnovers against Carolina, Atlanta, and Miami. The Rams have had a hard time scoring points this season, so the Saints can't help them with field position off of turnovers. For the Rams, the key is going to be wide receivers winning their one-on-one matchups. Look for the Saints to drop a safety close to the line of scrimmage to help in run support, and that's going to leave Keenan Burton and Donnie Avery matched up against cornerbacks Tracy Porter and Randall Gay. For the Rams to move the ball today, these young wide receivers are going to need to get some separation.
Well, Drew Brees and the Saints put their 8-0 mark on the line against Steven Jackson and the hard-hitting Rams. Kickoff is next on Fox. Welcome back to St. Louis. Drew Brees will have to stand on the sideline a little while next to his head coach, Sean Payton, who's now in his 4th season. 14th head coach in Saints history, and he is the winningest coach in terms of winning percentage, a guy that obviously turned the program around back in 2006.
In the last couple of years, they finished 8-8. That was very frustrating for them. They brought in new defensive coordinator Greg Williams, but Sean Payton has got things rolling this year and is looking to finish the season out strong.
Steve Spagnuolo coming off of his first win as an NFL head coach, trying to fire up the troops on the sidelines. 1-7. They are coming off of a bye week. That came after their 17-10 win up in Detroit. The Brees and that high-powered offense with an 8-game winning streak. Trying for a 9-game winning streak, which has twice been done before by the Saints. Most recently at the end of the 1990 and then beginning of the 91 season. Thomas Morstead, the rookie out of SMU, will kick things off to the Rams. Danny Amendola is back on his own goal line.
This will be his first kick return since that concussion that he suffered against Detroit. So let's see if he's a little tentative pounding it up into the hole.
The Rams said Amendola, all systems go. He's been 12 by Jalan Dunbar. And that'll bring out the Rams offense led by the 2-time Pro Bowl quarterback Mark Bulger. Only 3 touchdown tosses this season.
And we talked in the beginning about the adjustment that Mark Bulger has had to make to Pat Shurmur, new offensive coordinator. The West Coast offense that Pat has brought in. Mark dealt with some injuries in training camp, and he really hasn't gotten on the same page. He's had some young receivers. They've rotated guys in. No longer here is Isaac Bruce. No longer Torrey Holt, Marshall Faulk. He's got some young guys in there that they're trying to get on the same page.
And the The Rams will start out in a 2 tight end formation from their own 13. Bulger comes out throwing. And it is incomplete. It looked like it bounced almost off the backside of his lineman, Adam Goldberg, but it did not. Let's meet the rest of the Rams. We talked about Jackson coming off of a season-high 149 yards in that win against Detroit. A pair of second-year receivers in Keenan Burton and Donnie Avery, and a much-improved offensive line thanks in part to the free agent signing of their center, Jason Brown.
And that's really who solidified this offensive line. Jason Brown, coming over from Baltimore, has really brought unity to that group.
Jackson for the first time today, very little, and there is a flag down after a short gain. Our referee, Gene Steratore.
Offside. Number 94 lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
That is Charles Grant, and let's meet the rest of the Saints' depleted defense. A little soft in the middle with an injury to Cedric Ellis, so Anthony Hargrove gets the start. He is the reigning NFC Defensive Player of the Week. The linebacking core welcomes back Scott Fajita, who missed the last 3 games with an injured calf. And we talked about the injuries in the secondary, so Randall Gay and Usama Young fill in for Greer and Sharper. 2nd and 5 after the offsides. Jackson off the right side. He has a crease. He is up across the 30. The spin move to the 40 and up near midfield.
And that is what Steven Jackson does so well. His yards after first contact is where he gets his yards. This season, that's where he's been getting a lot of his yards. The Rams going in unbalanced. You can see they move their big linemen to the right side of the screen. They have Randy McMichael on the line on the backside. Steven Jackson runs to that overloaded size and those big powerful legs. He's going to run through those arm tackles. The Saints are going to have to wrap him up today.
Gain of 30 on the play for Jackson. And the Rams have it at their own 48. 3-receiver set, Bulger looking, and hits Brandon Gibson for his first career catch, a gain of 8.
And Brandon Gibson is one of the new receivers that they've brought into the team. He's only been here for a couple weeks. He was a part of the Will Witherspoon trade to Philadelphia. They're going to get a lot of this one-on-one today, and the receivers, like we mentioned in the opening, are going to have to win those one-on-one matchups because the Saints are going to stack 8 in the box to try and stop Steven Jackson.
2nd and short for the Rams. The exact situation their offensive coordinator, Pat Shurmur, wants to be in. And it won't be anymore.
False start. Offense. Number 73. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
That is the right guard, Adam Goldberg, filling in for the injured Richie Incognito, who is missing his 2nd straight game with a bum foot. And it's those kind of penalties that have been killing this team. 2nd and very manageable situation. Now it's 2nd and long.
And the coaching staff talked about that. When they get into the red zone, they've been shooting themselves in the foot.
Jackson again plows forward for about 4. That'll bring up 3rd and 3.
We may be seeing a trend right here. So far, it seems Steven Jackson is pounding the right side of the offensive line. So as we know, 2nd overall pick, Jason Smith is at that right tackle spot, and that's something he was known for coming into the draft, was his ability to drive off the ball and his run blocking skills. So maybe they found something there that they want to run behind.
Jackson now lined up wide right. Kenneth Darby in the backfield in a shotgun formation on 3rd and 4. Bulger pressured and dropped by Jonathan Vilma, but he does get it away. Incomplete, intended for Jackson. Vilma with the pressure.
The Rams have good pass protection here. They have accountability. You can see Vilma coming in. He's got protection. He's got one-on-one. Kenneth Darby's got to make that block and give Mark Bulger time because you have one defender and one offensive person in that protection.
And it looked like Bulger's knee might have been down before he released the ball, but Sean Payton, who doesn't hesitate when it comes to throwing the challenge flag, keeps it in his pocket. Donnie Jones, the LSU product, boots it away, and a terrible punt, which ends up going out of bounds at about the Saints 25. And that's where this number 1 ranked offense Drew Brees, the Saints will take over.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Go to southwest.com, grab your bag, it's on.
After a 21-yard punt, the #1 ranked offense under Drew Brees takes over at its own 25. Mike Bell up the middle, 3-yard gain.
And that's the type of sure tackling the Rams are going to have today. Leonard Little comes down the line, makes a big tackle.
Brees tied for the NFL lead in touchdown tosses along with Houston's Matt Schaub.
Drew Brees is having another MVP type of season, and he's really what makes this offense work. He does a good job with protections, getting the linemen and the backs on the same page, picking up the blitzes.
Reggie Bush in the backfield after that opening carry by Bell. And it's a quick hit to Bush. Gets outside, has an opening, and gets dragged down at the 44-yard line. Paris Lennon on the tackle after a gain of 16.
And that's what the Saints are going to try and do. They want to get Reggie Bush in the open field one-on-one. They do a misdirection. We call it a dish play, when you fake one way and dish it back to the running back going the other way. The Rams sucked in. They're so aggressive on the defense, they come running in.
And to add injury to insult, that is Paris Lennon. We will check on his condition after the break. Paris Lennon, the man who made the stop on Reggie Bush, walked off the field under his own power. He has been replaced by second-year man Chris Chamberlain out of Tulsa. Third different running back in as many plays for the Saints. That is Pierre Thomas, who takes the handoff, cuts back, and after a 3-yard gain is brought down. Well, you've seen the 3 running backs already in Bell, Bush, and Thomas. Outside, they are superb with Marcus Colston and Devery Henderson, also Jeremy Shockey, a former Pro Bowl tight end, but unsung is that offensive line.
And Jermon Bushrod stepped in at left tackle after the injury to Jamal Brown and has really solidified that left tackle spot.
Brees out of the shotgun on 2nd and 7. Looks for Shockey, ball's tipped, and it is intercepted. Picked off by O.J. Otagwe.
We talked in the beginning about the Saints can't have turnovers because they're putting the Rams in good field position. This Rams offense has struggled, and now with this interception by Otagwe, it's going to be good field position for the Rams. The Rams bring pressure. They bring 2 off the edge. That leaves Shockey for the hot route. Chamberlain does a good job. Vabor does a good job of running over. The ball's on the back shoulder. Shockey comes in. Vabor does a good job of getting the ball tipped in the air, and Otagwe always is around the ball, comes up with the interception, and gives the Rams good field position.
For Otagwe, his 2nd interception of the season. Gives the Rams excellent field position at the Saints 47. It is Jackson again, and he gets dragged down quickly by Scott Shanley. No gain there. We talked about the Saints. This is their 11th turnover now in the last 3+ games. They said they've been pretty much living on the edge. They've had to come back.
And the Rams are going with the change of pace here. They're going with the no huddle. They didn't huddle up. Mark Bulger signaling out to everybody to get lined up quick, try and change the pace of this game.
Bulger hits Jackson out of the backfield, drags Shanley for a few extra yards, and he's about 2 yards shy of the first down.
And that's going to be a matchup that they want all day. If they can get Shanley matched up with Steven Jackson in the passing game, that is to the advantage of the St. Louis Rams.
Well, this is a guy that can do just about everything out there. He's looking for his 5th straight 1,000-yard rushing season. That would be a Rams record. The question is, are they using him too much, Trent Green?
Well, you look at right now, he's number 2 in the NFL with the number of carries, and he's 2nd on the team in catches.
3rd and 2, a 4-receiver set for the Rams. Bulger looking for something quick, and he has it. Caught by Donnie Avery for a first down.
That was a run-pass check at the line of scrimmage. Mark Bulger came up, got underneath center. He recognized that the Saints were stacking the box. He had man-to-man on his 4 receivers that were out in formation with a deep safety, and you could see before the snap, he signaled to everybody. He got out of the run play. He wanted that quick pass play. He didn't want to leave the offensive line in a tough situation with a deep drop. He got the ball out of his hands quick and made a good connection.
Avery, the Rams' 3rd leading receiver this year, now with 23 catches. And he has them down at the Saints' 32. And Bulger to throw again. Hits Jackson out of the backfield, makes a great move on Fujita. Plows over another Saints defender and gets down to the 20. It's going to take all 11 Saints to get him down.
And you've got to admire the way Steven Jackson attacks the defense once he has the ball in his hands. There has to be some concern, though, also. You can see Mark Bulger on the play fake to Steven Jackson. The secondary of the Saints, the linebackers of the Saints get deep. Mark does a good job of spotting that, dumping the ball off to Steven. But when you see that many defenders, if you're the coaching staff of the St. Louis Rams, you'd like to see Steven protect himself a little better, but I don't know if that's in his nature.
So the Rams in the red zone, an area where they have really struggled this season. Little cutback by Jackson, tries to bounce outside, but he is dragged down there by Roman Harper, the Saints' leading tackler.
They're really overloading the box. You can see Steven Jackson's coming out of the game now, and he needs to with the pounding he's taken these last few plays. We mentioned in the opening the number of yards he has after first contact, the way he's been able to make these Saint defenders miss at the line of scrimmage to get to that next level.
And the Rams kind of a mystery, or at least it's been a mystery once they get inside the 20. Only 4 touchdowns in 17 red zone appearances. Bulger looking for something new, looking for the end zone, and it is picked off by Usama Young, the replacement of Darren Sharper. Gets it out to the 22-yard line.
And unfortunately for the Rams, that is what plagued them all season. They haven't been effective in the red zone. They didn't have anybody there to hold Usama Young.
Usama Young does his best. Darren Sharper and the Saints are back in business.
Today's game is sponsored by Lowe's. For all your holiday home improvements, Lowe's. Let's build something together. By DirecTV. No one else has all your favorite channels in HD. And by Mobil 1. For almost any extreme, choose Mobil 1, the world's leading synthetic motor oil.
Well, Darren Sharper, the league's leader interceptor with 7 picks this year. Giving it up for Usama Young, his first interception of the season, but the Rams in the meantime are dealing with this. Keenan Burton, the man who the pass was intended for, is down in the end zone. Let's take a look at what happened to the second-year man out of Kentucky.
Daniel Fells, the tight end, is in motion. His job is to get down the middle of the field. If Usama Young jumps him, you have the outside receiver. If Usama Young widens, you either got to take your tight end or hit your check down. As you can see, Daniel Fells, Vilma drops deep, so Usama Young has no decision to make other than to go to the outside receiver, and Mark tried forcing that ball after looking down the middle to Daniel Fells. He's got to find a way to get to his check down.
Well, the Saints now with 17 interceptions, most in the NFL. They've forced 25 turnovers this year, but obviously the concern is with Keenan Burton, and you could see there really wasn't a whole lot of contact there in the end zone. It was just a play where his right leg grabbed on the turf. And as you can see, they're placing that inflatable cast now on his right leg. They've brought out the cart as well. As we take one more look at the injury, lower left-hand side of your screen.
It doesn't appear that Keenan Burton is in a lot of pain when you saw him sitting there on the ground. But on this turf, you never know. He's grabbing his knee as he's falling to the ground. As he's falling to the ground, he's grabbing his knee. So it may have happened. A lot of times, you don't want to speculate, but a lot of times when you hit that turf and you pound that turf hard, things can pop in there. It could be an ACL, it could be a bone. You never really know, but the fact that they've put an air cast on him brings some concern to the Rams sideline.
And now, much like the Saints secondary, Steve Spagnuolo is going to be short-handed at his wide receiving core. They only dressed 4 receivers to start out with, so now they're only down to 3. Avery Amendola and the rookie Brandon Gibson. Ravel Martin, their 5th receiver, is not dressed today.
Look for Billy Badjima, the 3rd tight end, to be more involved. They're going to have to get a tight end package, sometimes 2 and 3 tight ends, to try and utilize those matchups.
So the Saints start their second drive at the 22. A fake pitch by Breeze rolls out and hits the backup tight end David Thomas. And for the first time, let's complete a pass out west to Kurt Menefee with a game break.
Well, the Saints looking at the NFC South in their rearview mirror. Carolina trying to stay within view. This is Jake Delhomme hooking up with Steve Smith down at the 1-yard line. Jonathan Stewart took it in from there. And the Panthers lead the Falcons 7-3 in the first quarter. Chris and Trent.
Thank you, Kurt. Of course, last week, the Panthers jumped out to a 14-0 lead over the Saints before the Star-Spangled Banner was even done. Here it's Reggie Bush up the middle, upended after a short gain. We talked to Drew Brees before the game, and he said, listen, we're going to get everybody's shot. Best shot. We know that. We're 8-0 for the first time in history. He said it's kind of fun walking around with a big target on your chest for a change.
Well, when you're moving the ball and you're throwing the ball around the field, running the ball and having the balance and winning football games, believe me, it's a lot more fun coming to work every day.
That is Devery Henderson in motion on 3rd and 4. Breeze hits Shockey for a first down.
And Shockey being healthy for the first time since he's been in New Orleans. He's missed a lot of games over the last couple years. Now that he's been able to stay healthy, he's become a big part of this offense.
And how much does having a presence in the middle of the field, a guy like Shockey, open things up for you?
Well, it draws the attention of the safeties. So when your safeties are concerned about the tight end going down the middle of the field, you all of a sudden get isolation on the outside. We saw that in the interception with the Rams.
Mike Bell cuts back, gains about 3. James Hall drags him down. Hall, a New Orleans native, went to St. Augustine High School. And you talked about that balance at the beginning of the game. As you can see, only team in the NFL to rank in the top 5 in both rushing and passing. And as far as the run game, as opposed to Steven Jackson, who's basically the only guy in the Rams backfield, they use a 3-headed monster.
The wear and tear on Steven Jackson compared to these 3 backs in New Orleans will be a difference down the stretch.
This time it's Pierre Thomas coming at you. And this will make it 3rd and short. Hall again in on the stop.
Just like we talked about with the Rams, they tend to be running to the right side behind Jason Smith. You look at the New Orleans Saints and what they've been able to do, it seems to be running to the left side behind Jermon Bushrod that we talked about early in the opening, who replaced Jamal Brown, who was hurt in the preseason. Bushrod has stepped in and done an excellent job and really solidified that left side, and you can see they're leaning more to that left side of the line to run the ball.
Breeze out of the shotgun with Reggie Bush to his right. He completes it to David Thomas, who has a first down and then some, down to the Rams 40, as James Laurinaitis is in on the stop.
There are different ways that defenses have decided to pressure Drew Brees. Right here, the Rams only rush 4 defenders. They drop 7 into coverage. If you're going to drop 7 into coverage, you can't allow the underneath receivers to go ahead and have the first down once they catch the ball. They got so deep in their coverage that all Brees had to do was keep his eyes downfield and dump it off for the first down.
Thomas, a former draft pick of the New England Patriots, came over in a September trade for a future 7th-round choice. Already with 2 catches this afternoon. He stays in the backfield. Breeze looking, and it's Thomas again. And they say he is down. That was not a fumble. Justin King hoping otherwise, but ball stay there at the 39.
2nd down.
And that's a package that Sean Payton talked to us when we were bringing up the name of Kyle Eckel and the fact he's only been on the team for a couple of weeks. David Thomas is going to be a guy they utilize at tight end, but also at the fullback position. And right there you can see when he comes down, the ball pops out. They rule it an incompletion.
As long as that arm touches down before the ball is loose, the runner is down. Breeze, hesitation, handoff to Bush.
Oh, yeah, nice play, nice play.
Hall with the stop yet again. So it'll be 3rd and 5 for the Saints.
It'll be interesting to see how the Rams decide to attack this 3rd down. Last time on 3rd and 5, they rushed 4, they dropped 7 into coverage, and they just gave the Saints a layup for the first down. This time, are they going to pressure, try and keep the Saints out of field goal range, or force them with 21-year veteran John Carney to attempt a plus 50-yard field goal.
Breeze looking downfield and connects with Devery Henderson for the first down. Gets it down to the Ram 14.
On that snap, the Rams decided to go opposite of what they did on the last third down. They bring 2 pressure, they rush 6, so that leaves 1-on-1. And right here on the corner route, he gets the leverage. Drew Brees does a good job of looking the flat route. Ron Bartell sucks up on the flat route thinking that's where they're going for the first down. Brees keeps his eyes there, has good protection to be able to drop it over the top, get the corner route for the first down, and get them down deep in the red zone.
And for Henderson, a gain of 21, which is exactly what he averages per catch throughout his career. This time the Rams are not fooled. Lawan Ramsey drags down Pierre Thomas. Drew Brees, talked about him at the top of the game. 5 for 5 on this drive for 52 yards. And unlike the Rams, who when they get into the red zone seem to be allergic to the end zone, the Saints, they love being here. They feel right at home.
They do a great job. Drew Brees, you understand why he's leading the league in pass efficiency. On this drive, he's using all of his weapons and finding guys open all over the field.
3 receivers set, but it's Reggie Bush up the middle, darting his way down to the 8-yard line.
And that's where Reggie Bush has gotten criticism since he's been in the NFL. Sometimes he gets up there, he dances a little bit too much before he finds the hole. But when you find the weapons and you find the creases and the way that Reggie Bush is be able to find those, you have to give him some leeway. And there was nothing to be made by following the block. And he slides over, finds a gap, gets a couple of yards, and puts them in a manageable third down.
And that will do it for the first 15 minutes. The good news for the Rams, they held the high-powered Saints scoreless. The bad news for the Rams, they don't have anything either. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. We are scoreless in St. Louis, which is kind of surprising for the Saints. It's just the 5th time in 33 quarters this year they have been shut out. But they are knocking on the door. 3rd and 5. They are 3 of 3 on third down conversions on this drive. Drew Brees looking, has a completion, and it is indeed a first down as David Thomas comes up with yet another catch, his 4th this afternoon.
And that's what makes this Saints offense so hard to defend. The Rams decide to rush 4, drop 7 into coverage. They went man-to-man. They went a 2-man look. Locked up on David Thomas. He comes in, he expands with, the safety comes up, the Tagway comes up and tries to knock the ball out. Can't get the ball out of there. Thomas pivots, gets the first down.
Thomas had only 7 receptions coming into the day. He has 4 so far. Brees out of the shotgun, hands it off to Bush, who gets into the end zone.
The Saints are so effective when it comes down to the red zone because there are so many ways they can attack you. And as a defense, which way are they going to attack you? Who do you defend? Do you spread out with their receivers that are in a double slot look, or do you isolate with Reggie Bush in the backfield one-on-one?
For Reggie Bush, his 5th rushing touchdown of the season. 45-year-old John Carney missed 2 PATs this year, does not. And so it is 7-zip. A 13-play, 78-yard drive has the 8-0 Saints up 7-zip. Drew Brees staring at a picture-perfect drive. At least he was 6 for 6. Finished it up with the 5th touchdown of the year by Reggie Bush. And a team that is averaging almost 38 points per game has its first points on the board. Thomas Morstead, 25. And that's where Mark Bulger and the Rams will take over. Well, in his last home game, all rookie James Laurinaitis had to deal with was Peyton Manning and the Colts. They put up 42. Steve Spagnuolo trying to say, hey, let's keep Drew Brees at about 7. That'd be good. So the Rams back at it on their 3rd drive. Down a touchdown. Jackson again off the left side. He has a big hole. And Usama Young drags him down after a 14-yard gain. Right now, let's check in for the first time with the 3rd member of our crew, Rob Desir.
All right, Chris, thanks a lot. I want to give you a couple of quick Rams injury updates. As we saw in the first quarter, we saw the Rams defensive linebacker Paris Lennon go out with an injury. He has some rib injury. He is questionable. Now, as for the Rams wide receiver, Keenan Burton, who went out in the end zone with that knee injury, he is doubtful. And speaking of defensive guys, talked about on the defensive side for the Saints, Usama Young, who you saw just made the tackle, kind of doing a formidable job considering the fact that their guy Darren Sharper has been out with that injury last week that he suffered against Carolina.
All right, Rob, thank you. Steven Jackson this time up the middle for a gain of 8. And you can see the key inactives, not only Sharper, but Jabari Greer, a key free agent signing who's been outstanding, out with a strained groin, and Cedric Ellis still maybe a week or 2 away with that bad knee.
They've had some injuries. This game, they're coming in, they're losing the 4 guys we see on the screen. The guys they're asking to step in have played and have played well. They're not looking to skip a beat.
2nd and short, play action to Jackson. Bolger looks downfield, hits Randy McMichael, and he gets leveled by Young. Not before he reaches the 35 and flexes his muscles for a 1st down.
Because of the effectiveness of Steven Jackson running the ball, Mark Bolger is going to fake to his left, roll out on a bootleg to his right. He finds Randy McMichael on the crossing route on the backside. Receiver puts the ball right on the money. Randy McMichael is going to have to be a part of this game. With the loss of Keenan Burton, the fact they only have 3 healthy wide receivers left dressed today, the tight ends are going to have to be a big part.
In fact, a 2 tight end formation for the Rams on 1st and 10. It's the 3rd time they've been in the Saints part of the field, and they have no points to show for it. Jackson again with another big gain of 8. Dragged down by Lee Torrance. Randall Gay in there as well.
Steven Jackson had talked to us yesterday about running the ball effectively against the Saints. We know, everybody knows the Saints are going to drop 8 in the box. They want to get a safety in the box because that's what the Rams lean on, is the run game. So getting an extra run defender down in the box for that support. But Steven Jackson made the point, we're not going to be scared off by that. We've got to pound the ball and try and get yards after contact.
Samkon Gatto in the game for Jackson. Squeezes his way for about 3 and another Rams 1st down. Well, the Rams have done everything they wanted to against the Saints except put points on the board. I mean, this is the 3rd time in as many drives they've been in Saints territory against this Greg Williams-led defense.
And we talked with Coach Steve Spagnuolo about the bye week, focusing on the red zone and increasing that effectiveness in the red zone. They got down there their last series, had the turnover, but now they're down here again. They've got to respond and get some points to answer the Saints score.
Gatto stays in the backfield. That's McMichael in motion. Gatto on the quick toss. Strung out well by Will Smith, and right now let's send it out to Los Angeles. Kurt Menefee with a game break.
And Carolina getting it going after being down 3-0. They've gotten back-to-back touchdowns. This one, Steve Smith going up and hauling it in. It's 14-3. Carolina leading the Falcons now in the 2nd quarter. Chris and Trent.
Thank you, Kurt. Carolina, one of those teams that might make a little bit of a run in the 2nd half. You knew they weren't dead.
You knew they weren't. You knew Jake Delhomme was get out of that shell, get out of that interception bug that he was in early in the season. And they run the ball well, and their defense is starting to step up.
Steven Jackson back into the game. Bolger looking, dropped, and he loses the ball. Jackson comes back to get it. So Steven Jackson doing a little bit of everything. Running the ball, catching it out of the backfield, and now saving yet another turnover. Will Smith with the pressure on that one.
You can see the amount of time that Mark Bolger has in the pocket. He has good protection. This is going to be a coverage sack. He's trying to dump the ball off to Steven Jackson, but sitting right there is Scott Fujita. He steps up. He's trying to find an open receiver. Fortunately, Steven Jackson's on the ball, gets the ball back for the Rams. Now they've got to try and get closer. They want to get a first down. It's 3rd and 15, but Josh Brown is already in field goal range.
For Smith, the 16th forced fumble he has had in his career, but the Rams fall on it. So 2nd and 14, Bulger looking deep. And it is a touchdown to Donnie Avery. And Avery beat Jabari Greer's backup, Randall Gay.
So much for trying to pick up the first down on 3rd and 15. The Saints decide to commit everybody to the box. You get one-on-one. He gets a corner route, gets Randall Gay to bite on the move to the inside. Mark Bulger puts it right on the money. What a way to respond by Mark Bulger, coming back down after the interception and getting the touchdown to tie this game up.
Josh Brown ties it up. And the Rams say, we don't care if you're 8-0. We've got 7 and you've got 7.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by State Farm. To us, nothing's more important than being there. By the Ford F-150, built Ford tough. And by Windows 7, your PC simplified.
Steve Spagnuolo loves what he sees so far out of his club. 8 plays, 75-yard drive, capped off by a 29-yard TD toss and catch from Mark Bulger to Donnie Avery, his 3rd receiving TD this season. So the Rams and Saints tied up at 7. Josh Brown to do the honors, dragged down at the 27-yard line. So Donnie Avery and the Rams all even with Drew Brees and the Saints. Mark Bulger's 4th TD toss of the season has the Rams even with the high-powered Saints, and this is not a misprint here. The Rams have 48 more yards than the Saints. They'll start at their own 28. End around to Robert Meacham. He has some space, gets up past midfield, and dragged down by James Butler. Great blocking by David Thomas to spring Meacham.
We saw it earlier with the dish play to Reggie Bush. Now with the reverse play, they fake it, they go with the reverse, they get the overflow of the Rams defense. They find a crease. Great blocking by the Saints, but that misdirection and that over-aggressiveness of the Rams defense, 2 good calls for the Saints to catch them when they're pursuing too heavily.
Longest run of the season for the Saints, 41 yards. Get it done by their wide receiver. Here the more conventional route by Pierre Thomas. Gain of 2. And has anybody seen Marcus Colston yet? Just 1 catch last week. He said it was one of the worst games of his career. He dropped 2 passes in the end zone against Carolina. And here, yet to get off the schneid today.
And so far today, most of the receptions are going to the tight ends. They're doing a good job with the wide receivers. The Saints, or the Rams defense is doing a good job with the wide receivers, but the matchup the Saints have been looking for are the tight ends in the middle of the field.
Empty backfield for Brees on 2nd and 7. Reggie Bush lined up at the bottom of your screen. Brees looks and connects with Henderson inside the 20 down to the 15. Dragged down by Laurinaitis and James Butler. Gain of 13.
It's like a video game for Drew Brees. He drops back in the pocket. He has all of these weapons. Reggie Bush decides to motion out of the backfield and get on the outside, so he has all these receivers in one-on-one. So as a quarterback, you love that. If a team is not going to press you, if they're going to drop into coverage, or even if they bring pressure, you have a lot of one-on-one matchups. It's a matter of picking the matchup that you like best. That's what the NFL is all about, is matchups, and you find the matchup that works best for the route called.
2 tight end set for the Saints, who now have Mike Bell in the backfield. That's the fullback Kyle Eckel in motion. Brees looking incomplete. He was pressured there by Chris Long.
The isolation on Chris Long coming inside on Bushrod is able to put pressure on Drew Brees. You can see Drew's eyes started out to the left. He was trying to get the safety to think he's going to the left. He knew he had an isolation one-on-one with the tight end on the backside. So he was trying to draw the eyes of the safety and come back to that one-on-one matchup. But for Chris Long to get inside pressure and knock that ball loose.
This time both Reggie Bush and Pierre Thomas in the backfield. Brees just throws it away. The Rams had it perfectly read. Leonard Little wants a flag for holding or something over there.
Leonard Little has been around the block too many times to fall for that double screen. That's a very effective play from an offensive standpoint. If you have an over-aggressive defensive line, over-aggressive defensive ends that are bringing a lot of pressure, you drop back, you pump fake a quick screen, you roll out and hit the other screen. But Leonard Little's been around enough to not fall for that.
3rd and 10. If you're Drew Brees, what are you looking for?
You're looking for those one-on-one matchups. Find out if the Rams are going to bring pressure. Here it looks like the Rams are only going to bring 4 and drop 7 into coverage.
And that's what they do. Brees hits Bush out of the backfield, races to the corner, touchdown, Reggie Bush.
And to make matters even worse, they ran a zone blitz. They only rushed 3 and dropped the defensive lineman into coverage. So they had 8 defenders in coverage. But like what happened earlier on a 3rd down play, when you drop that many guys into coverage, right here you're going to see James Hall drop into coverage. So you're rushing 3, dropping 8. You have to cover those underneath guys. Reggie Bush one-on-one in the open field. Guys have to react up and make that tackle.
Craig Dahl, a reserve defensive back that couldn't keep up with Reggie Bush. The PAT is good, and Reggie's 2nd touchdown, his 1st this season through the air, as the Saints back on top.
Welcome back to St. Louis, where the Saints just took a 14-7 lead on the Rams. Reggie Bush is one-on-one with Craig Dahl coming out of the backfield. Just before this snap, I talked about matchups, and quarterbacks are trying to find matchups. Craig Dahl is overmatched one-on-one with Reggie Bush. He gets him in the open field, does a double move, gets separation. Once he gets the ball in his hands, he's electric.
I got to tell you, on a football field, Usain Bolt might be overmatched in a one-on-one matchup with Reggie Bush. Thomas Dan gets it out to the 27. Mark Bulger and the Rams will try and keep pace when we come back. Saints were shut out in the first 15 minutes. Reggie Bush has scored twice here in the second to give the Saints a 14-7 lead. But coming up later, it's game 2 of our doubleheader. Cowboys and Packers, or the Eagles and Chargers. Cowboys, of course, won in Philadelphia. And what do you think Steve Spagnuolo is telling Craig Dahl? You're as fast as Reggie Bush. You really are.
I think he's talking to him about leverage, finding a way. You either got to come up and get your hands on him, or you got to have better leverage than that.
Brandon Gibson in motion. Bulger hits Gibson, tries to make a little move. Dragged down by Jonathan Vilma and Randall Gay. Gibson, one of these guys they're going to get a look at right now as far as the receiving core goes. He came over in an October trade from Philadelphia for Will Witherspoon. Rookie out of Washington State. He was a 6th-round draft pick.
Brandon Gibson's a guy that they said coming into the game, the Rams told us coming into the game, they wanted to find out what they had in Brandon Gibson and find out what he could do. He was going to get some reps, but with the injury to Keenan Burton, he's going to get more opportunities today.
2nd and 3, a 2 tight end formation, and that is Remy Adele making contact.
Quarterbacks love getting first downs that way.
Encroachment. Defense, number 92, made contact. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
When it's under 5 yards, the quarterbacks tend to use some hard count to try and pick up those cheap first downs. When they're having trouble with first down conversions, you pull anything out of your bag of tricks to try and get that first down. Yeah, that's just a secret. If it's under 5, they're going to get it in there some way.
Do you laugh a little bit when it's that bad?
Yes.
Yeah, you do.
You do.
I thought so. Jackson off the left side for about a hard 4 there. Healthy dose of Steven Jackson, exactly what we expected as he carried for the 8th time this afternoon. And He has done it all, Trent Green.
We talked about his yards after contact. Here he has a big crease, goes through the arm tackle, makes things happen, gets isolation one-on-one with Shanley. That's going to be an advantage for him. Bulger does a good job looking downfield, dumping the ball off. Steven Jackson's going to be the workhorse both in the receiving department and the rushing department.
And the Rams love how he has grown into become a leader on the offensive side of the football as well. Bulger pressured, and he is dropped. Adele and Grant with a meeting right there. And right now, let's throw it out to Kurt Menefee in L.A. with a game break.
And Minnesota's Adrian Peterson looks like he stopped in the backfield against Detroit, but we've seen this before. Breaks free for a 22-yard score, and the Vikings lead the Lions 10-0, and that one's in the second quarter. Chris and Trent.
Thank you very much, Kurt. Of course, Steven Jackson came in tied with Adrian Peterson for third most rushing yards in the NFL. There's a timeout right now on the field.
Two very similar backs, Steven Jackson and Adrian Peterson. Like you said, they came into the game tied for third in the NFL in rushing, but very physical runners. They like to pound the defense. They want to make the person tackling them, they want to punish that person. And you can see with the style we've seen here today, Steven Jackson rips through those arm tackles. He pushes the pile, very similar to Adrian Peterson.
Steven Jackson definitely brings his lunch pail. And speaking of lunchtime, your new primetime partner is actually FoxSports.com, bringing you lunch with benefits. So log on to check out new episodes of the original sports shows delivered to your desktop every Monday through Friday. That's at 1 Eastern. Tomorrow, don't miss The Glaze. That's right, it's the after party with Jay Glazer. He'll chat it up with all the headline makers from Sunday's action. My guess is Jared Allen will be back on there, no doubt. And we'll have something interesting to say. 3rd and 7, Bulger out of the shotgun. Looks downfield, hits Gibson again for a first down. Dragged down by Usama Young, so Brandon Gibson, without an NFL catch prior to today, picks up 16 on his 3rd grab.
We've talked about today what the Rams defense is doing against the Saints offense. Here, the Saints defense decides they're going to rush 7, drop 4 into coverage. That leaves everybody one-on-ones. In the opening, we talked about these young receivers having to win those one-on-one opportunities. And right there, Brandon Gibson does a great job in one-on-one coverage. Mark Bulger puts the ball right on the money.
Once again, 2 of the 4 starters in the Saints secondary inactive because of injuries today. Showing blitz, Jackson for maybe a yard, 2 at the most. Charles Grant on the stop.
And that's the first time today that we've seen the Saints defense bring a corner blitz. Tracy Porter, coming from the left side of the formation for Mark Bulger, brings a corner blitz because the Rams have been running the ball to the left side. So maybe Greg Williams decided, you know what, let's bring the corner on this one. We'll roll the safety over the top to get that coverage for that receiver up there and maybe add more run support to that left side.
Greg Williams, a guy that's brought a lot of energy and enthusiasm in that blitzing scheme to this Saints defense in his first year as the D coordinator. Jackson lined up wide right. It's Billy Badgema, who was wide open. He gets stoned by Marvin Mitchell at the 30, but not before getting another Rams first down.
And that's when you lose a guy like Darren Sharper to injury, and you have some young guys in the secondary. You have two guys starting together for the first time in this defensive unit. You leave a guy, whether the linebacker's communication, but when you have a guy wide open in the middle, there's miscommunication somewhere, whether it's the safeties or linebackers as far as who has that receiver.
Darren Sharper, guy that's a 4-time Pro Bowler, a leader in the secondary, whether it was in Green Bay, Minnesota, or now down here in New Orleans. Jackson, arm tackled by Bobby McCray. Now the Saints truly keying on Jackson on this drive. And a little pushing and shoving at the bottom of that pile as well. I think I might like Steven Jackson in that matchup.
He gets a little feisty, doesn't he? He was even getting a little fired up in the meeting the other day. He's an aggressive player. He's decided to take this team on his shoulders. He understands he's got to be the leader. He understands he has to be the leader of this offense. He's taken that responsibility. It hasn't been a role that he's been real comfortable in prior years, but he understands for this offense and this team to turn the corner and get done what Coach Steve Spagnuolo is trying to get done here, he's going to have to take that role.
Well, Sean Payton's team has just burned its 2nd time out. And he looks a little fiery right now. Obviously, a lot of questions still with the second half of the season to play, and one of them is going to be, is this Saints defense for real? They've been opportunistic. They've gotten things done. They've forced 25 turnovers now on the year, best in football, but in the last now 3+ games, teams have been able to run against this defense.
You look at against Atlanta and Carolina, Miami, those guys have all ran the ball very well. DeAngelo Williams a week ago ran for 149 yards. 2 weeks ago, Michael Turner ran for 151 yards. So that is a weakness, and that's an area we talked to Greg Williams about. He was not overly concerned about it. He thought they've done a good job. They've given up some big plays, and they want to eliminate those big runs, those big plays. But with a back like Steven Jackson, you better wrap up and not let him get rolling down the field.
Jackson with 73 yards in the first half, looking to add more, but he is dragged down quickly by Demario Presley, second-year man out of North Carolina State. Recently brought up from the practice squad when the Saints had to put Kendrick Clancy on the injured reserve.
From a philosophy standpoint with the Rams, you can see Presley shoots through the A-gap. Nobody gets a hand on him. You're going to have some ineffectiveness as an offensive line if you're letting guys shoot the A-gap, whether it's a run game or the pass game. You can't let interior penetration through.
Rams 3 of 4 on third down tries. This one from 3rd and 9, and it's a handoff to Jackson. Darts, he has the first down and gets it inside the red zone. Gain of 13. And Steven Jackson pumping up the crowd as well. The Rams are on the move as we hit the 2-minute warning. Saints with a 14-7 lead.
Today's game is sponsored by Verizon Football Zone with live games and highlights right on your phone, only on VCast from America's most reliable wireless network.
He's not smiling right now, but trust me, Steve Spagnuolo, the first-year coach of the Rams, happy. His team is within 7 and now in the red zone. Steven Jackson, 13 yards on a 3rd and 9 carry, and they'll give it to him again. Gets it down to about the 13-yard line or so. Well, coming up on the Visa Halftime Report, Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy. They've got all the scores and highlights from around the league. And Fox Sports Ticker, of course, will take care of you as well. Well, the Saints have called their 3rd and final timeout. Trying to save a little time in case Drew Brees can get his hands back on the football, I suppose.
And that's the series that has worked twofold for the Rams. Not only have they gotten themselves into field goal range, but with that big run by Steven Jackson on 3rd and 9, getting 13 yards to get the first down, they've now caused the Saints to use up all their timeouts. The Rams can do whatever they want now because the Rams still have 3 timeouts. If they want to run the ball, pass the ball, they can get a first down once they get down to the 5-yard line. So they've really, this drive has been good for them, not only from a point standpoint or positioning themselves, but making sure that effective Saints offense doesn't get the ball back.
You always tell me it's about matchups, looking for that one. If you're the Rams, what are you looking for down here?
Well, right now, Donnie Avery's been your guy recently. He's your receiver. You got him matched up one-on-one down here with Randall Gay.
At the bottom of the screen, but instead it's Jackson on the cutback inside the 10 down to the 5, and just to show you how strong he is, he was dragging Will Smith, a Pro Bowl defensive lineman, along for the ride.
And that gives them a 1st and goal. We talked about getting down to the 5-yard line. They're going to be able to utilize more clock. They've still got the 3 timeouts. So now from the 5-yard line, they can run the ball, pass the ball. They've got plenty of time on the clock with 1st and goal.
That is the 50th first down of the season by Steven Jackson, who now has 95 yards rushing on the day.
And you can see the way Greg Williams was thinking there. They stayed in a cover 2 look, didn't have the run support down in there, and Steven Jackson pounded for the first down.
Gibson and Avery at the bottom of your screen. It's Jackson again, up the middle for about 2. Demario Presley in on the stop. And a timeout by the Rams. And once again, coming up on the Visa Halftime Report, Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy will have scores and highlights from around the league. The Fox Sports Ticker will keep you updated, up to the second stats for all you fantasy players out there as well. So we'll be sending it out to Los Angeles in just a bit. You a little surprised by the way this has unfolded here
in the first half?
Well, we talked about coming in that the effectiveness of the Rams running the football was going to be a way for them to keep the Saints offense off the field, but also that's the thing that the Rams do best, and so far Steven Jackson has been able to do that. Now that they're down inside the 5-yard line, the Rams have only had one rushing touchdown all season, and that was their last victory 2 weeks ago against Detroit before their bye week. Let's see how they try and get into the end zone here. Do you stick with your workhorse, Steven Jackson, or do you try and get one of your isolations with your receivers on the outside?
Brandon Gibson, the rookie, down at the bottom of the screen. That is Avery in motion. They'll just give it to the workhorse, Steven Jackson. He plows in. No sign yet. They are saying touchdown, Steven Jackson.
You had to wonder when the Saints put that many guys in the box. They had the two receivers isolated one-on-one. Are they going to try pounding Steven Jackson? And yes, they did. He pushes that pile into the end zone. Great line drive by the Rams. They had a couple of plays during that series where they left the gaps open, but they came together and got the ball in the end zone.
Browns PAT has tied it. Steven Jackson giving a lot of love to his fullback, Mike Carney, the former Saint.
Steven Jackson, this offensive line, Adam Goldberg, Jason Smith, that's who they've been running behind. They pound it right up in the hole. Jacob Bell comes around, he pulls around to give a lead for Steven Jackson. They push the entire pile into the end zone to tie this thing up. The only thing they may be a little concerned with, even though the Saints are out of timeouts now, there's 55 seconds left in this half. And you know how the Saints offense works. But I tell you right now, that Rams sideline, they're not worried about any of that. This game's tied up 14-14.
Well, that is Mike Carney, the fullback who spent the first 5 years of his career in New Orleans before being cut in March, the day before his wedding. And here's a toaster as well. Well, Carney and Jackson have become very close here in St. Louis. Carney said he understands the business side of this game, as you all do as players eventually. But man, to get cut the day before you say I do and your team says I don't anymore.
Well, and you can see that meant a little something extra. As the replay showed, once he got that block on Shanley and he was standing over the top of him once Jackson got in the end zone, he gave a little fist pump. He got a little fired up. He put a little extra into it.
Brown boots it away to Roby. Takes it at his goal line. He gets smashed at about the 24. Chris Chamberlain, the man who leads the Rams in special teams tackles, notches another one on his belt. So now 50 seconds left. No timeouts. What do you think they're going to do?
They're going to try and score. 50 seconds is a long time for this offense, so it's going to be a great challenge for this Rams defense to answer the bell. Whether they rush 4, rush 6, whatever they're going to do from a defensive standpoint, you've got to put pressure on Drew Brees. If he stands back there all day, he's got those big wide receivers to throw to down the field.
Well, Brees probably feels like he's in the red zone right here. Out of the shotgun. Pressured. Gets it away to Reggie Bush, and a terrific tackle there made by C.J. Ayu.
That's what we talked about going into that play. The Rams are going to have to put pressure on Drew Brees. They closed that pocket down, put the pressure on him, had him wrapped up. He was able to flip the ball to Reggie Bush. Great play by C.J. Ayu to get the tackle.
Brees hits Shockey, who came out of the backfield, trying to maybe find that sideline. Gets dropped by Craig Dahl. Saints a little shy of the first down, and once again, no timeouts left with 10 seconds left and ticking. Brees stops the, okay, now what? You're going to stop the clock, but if you don't get the first down and you leave any time left, the Rams could try a field goal. So now don't you have to punt it away?
You have to punt it away. You can't take that risk. The Rams are still sitting with 2 timeouts left. Not real good clock management by the Saints. Both times the receiver was inbounds. Good job by the Rams defense to rally and keep those receivers inbounds.
Is it possible that Drew Brees thought they had a first down there, or had lost? I mean, is it?
It is possible.
You might have lost track. I mean, things happen very quickly out there,
definitely,
don't they?
Definitely.
Well, the play clock has ticked down to 0.
There have been quarterbacks in the past that have actually
Delay of
spiked
game.
the ball on 4th down.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
I'm not
It
going
wasn't me.
to
No, it wasn't me. But we've seen it on film before, where as a quarterback group, you're sitting in there laughing, like, how is he not aware that it's 4th down? And that would have been disastrous because the Rams would have been in field goal range. But I'm sure Drew Brees is too smart to fall for that one.
So now the Rams, they originally had their defense out there. They've got their special teams unit out there. And then my guess is they're going to bring the heat against Thomas Morstead, the rookie out of SMU. Nobody gets close to him. High enough punt where Amendola's going to try and do something with it, but this is going to be the last play of the first half. However, there is a flag down.
You can hear the response of this St. Louis crowd. They're fired up the fact that it's 14-14 heading into the half.
During the return, illegal block in the back, return team number 94. Penalty is declined. That is the end of the first half.
So that'll do it for the first 30 minutes. The score tied at 14. Stay tuned for the Visa Halftime Report with Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy right after these messages and a word from your local Fox station.
Opening are coming together. Steven Jackson is pounding the ball. He's been the workhorse for the Rams. They're utilizing him in the pass game as well as the run game. The big surprise for me is the Saints haven't got going offensively, as their wide receivers have not been a big part of the passing game.
Courtney Roby takes it on the run at the 5, gets across the 20, has an opening past the 30. Brown cannot get him. Courtney Roby is gone. Courtney Roby, the 4th-year man out of Indiana. It's the first Saints kickoff return for a touchdown in nearly 5 years.
The Saints could have drawn up a better way to start the second half, getting points on the board. You don't need to get your wide receivers involved in the offense if you're going to return the opening kickoff. So the Rams find themselves trailing again. They get the ball coming back off of this kickoff.
Drew Brees looked a little disappointed, like he wanted to get back out there, but he will take the 6 and now 7-point lead. Reggie Bush has scored twice, and Courtney Roby from 97 yards out. And just like that, the Saints are back on top.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Go to southwest.com, grab your bag, it's on. By Domino's new Mix and Match deal. By Cadillac. And by AT&T. Your world delivered.
That is special teams coordinator Greg McMahon. Find me a special teams coach without a little great facial hair in this league. You just watched Courtney Roby running back 97 yards. As I said, the Saints' first kickoff return for a touchdown since close to the 30, stopped at the 28-yard line. Time to check in with Rob Desir.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. Spoke to both head coaches at the half. First off, Saints head coach Sean Payton said he's not particularly pleased with the offense, only because they haven't had the ball much, and he's got to limit the Rams offense as far as they're concerned. Time of possession is key if he wants to get something clicking for his Saints. Now, as for head coach Steve Spagnuolo, he is not surprised at his team's first half performance, but he says he knows New Orleans will make adjustments. This is not a 30-minute football game, and judging by that kickoff return for a touchdown, you can see that New Orleans has quickly made some adjustments. Chris?
All right, Rob, thank you. Steven Jackson, the back of the I formation for Mark Bulger. Bulger hits Brandon Gibson, sidesteps a would-be tackler, and it is Gibson who gets it up to the 48-yard line. His 4th catch of the afternoon.
We talked in the beginning about the young wide receivers being matched up one-on-one. Brandon Gibson one-on-one with Tracy Porter. Bulger gets the ball out of his hands. The ball is right there when Brandon Gibson comes out of his cut. Does a good job avoiding the first tackle, getting vertical on his release, and getting the first down.
And because Porter did not make that tackle, he was then injured trying to make the second tackle. His own man, Usama Young, actually ran into him, so the second-year man from Indiana is down on the turf, and this is already a depleted secondary. As you can see, Young's legs just go right into Porter, so we will check on the second-year man right after this. Tracy Porter just now getting to his feet ever so slowly. That is Malcolm Jenkins, the Saints' first-round pick out of Ohio State. He'll be thrust into the lineup now. Usama Young starting today for the injured Darren Sharper, and of course the veteran Randall Gay got the nod at cornerback for Jabari Greer. So you're talking about 3/4 of the secondary that is new right now on the field for Greg Williams.
And you look at the other side of the ball, the Rams lost starting wide receiver Keenan Burton to an injury, so the Rams only have 3 wide receivers dressed for the rest of the day. Knowing that the Saints are injured from a secondary standpoint, you'd like to have more wide receivers active, but just the Rams don't have any more wide receivers because of the number of injuries they have.
Their 5th receiver, Ravel Martin, inactive this afternoon. So Donnie Avery, the rest of the guys will go at a Saints secondary that just lost another starter in Tracy Porter. We will keep you posted on his health. So now 1st and 10 for Mark Bulger at their own 48. And it is Jackson, who is stopped just shy of midfield by Scott Shanley. Take a look at the first half numbers and some eye-popping stats, if you will. The Rams more total yards than the Saints, but yeah, you're checking out the clock at the
time
bottom.
of possession. Look at those nasty circles I just did. How about that, huh?
You want another shot at him?
Yeah, no, the Rams' time of possession, and that's the big difference. We talked about pounding the ball with Steven Jackson, not allowing the Saints offense to be on the field, and that's exactly what they did in the first half.
You're supposed to draw on that thing with your finger, not your toe. 2nd and 9. Green sets up the screen. It's off of Jackson's mitts and incomplete. He had some linemen out in front of him, and Jacob Bell and Adam Goldberg.
That was set up very well for the Rams. There was an opportunity to get some yards after that. Mark just drifted and floated it a little bit too high off of Steven Jackson's fingertip.
How much does this now limit Greg Williams in his defensive scheme when you're talking about having 3 guys in your secondary that are out? Or you're just pretty much dictated by what the Rams are doing anyway?
Well, I noticed what the first snap that Malcolm Jenkins was in, they brought a double corner blitz. They brought both corners for run support, leaving their safeties one-on-one on the outside. So they made an adjustment right away.
Play clock getting down to 2 before Bulger gets it away. Steps up, looks downfield. He had Gibson open, but overshoots him. Jenkins was in the area, and that's one that maybe Bulger would like back.
Good job by the offensive line. The Saints were able to get pressure upfield. Mark got up into the pocket, gave himself some time. You see the double move and the wide open space over near the sideline between the corner and the safety. And you can see the frustration that Mark Bulger has. He knows he missed an open opportunity there.
The Baton Rouge native and LSU product, Donnie Jones, on the punt for the 2nd time. Back to Reggie Bush, who's standing at his own 10. Calls for the fair catch, squeezes it. And the Saints will start out at their own 16 with a 7-point lead.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by GMC. Put us up against anyone and may the best truck win.
Saints' Courtney Roby returned the second half kickoff 97 yards to give the Saints a 21-14 lead over the Rams. Remember, this is game 1 of our doubleheader here on Fox. You see either the Cowboys and Packers or the Eagles at the Chargers. Drew Brees, the former Charger, now in his 4th year with the Saints, hands it off to Pierre Thomas, who has a big hole and has another first down for the Saints before he gets racked up by O.J. Otagwe.
Great job by the Saints offensive line creating a hole. Thomas comes through to get isolation on the linebacker. Pierre Thomas gets into the secondary. Good tackle by the Rams secondary, but he's already got the first down by the time he gets there.
looking downfield, hits Henderson, gets into Rams territory before he is tripped up by Quincy Butler. A gain of 26 and another big play from Breeze to Henderson.
The Saints come out with a 2 tight end look, 2 wide receiver look. Coming from the end zone, you see that there is only the one back in the backfield. The receiver is going to come up here, do a double move. They come up and get a crossing route. You get the secondary. You get the secondary to drop deep into coverage because of the vertical passing game of the Saints. Drew Brees does a good job of dropping it in that middle crease.
Pierre Thomas stopped for no gain. Harris Lennon, who was shaken up in the first half with the tackle, along with Clifton Ryan. Question is, will the Saints have enough players on their defense to continue? Tracy Porter, the second-year man out of Indiana, just carted off. Of course, Darren Sharper, the 4-time Pro Bowl safety, Jabari Greer, the key free agent acquisition, both inactive because of injuries today. So playing a little short-handed, but the Saints do have the lead and the ball and are in Rams territory.
The Rams talked to us about shuffling in different personnel groups. They brought 5 guys on the field, brought the 5 guys off, so they're shuffling personnel groups.
Breeze looking down the middle of the field, and the ball's picked off by James Butler. Butler has some room to run, and he's just going to tap out at the 40-yard line.
You don't see guys tap out that early. Usually they try and smash it up in there. Once again, Drew Brees trying to force it up the field to get the ball to Shockey. Overthrows the ball, good interception.
Drew Brees picked off for the second time today. Quick conversation with Jeremy Shockey over on the bench. The Rams trying to make some noise, and Jackson held to almost no gain on the play. Jonathan Vilma mixing it up in there.
I could definitely relate to what Drew Brees is going through there. He's very emotional with Jeremy Shockey. I don't think he's mad at Jeremy Shockey. He's just trying to get that communication open. Drew's upset. That's his second interception of the day. The passing game hasn't really been working for the Saints so far. The Rams are doing a good job with their defense and shutting down that passing game. And just that frustration from Drew Brees and that conversation with Jeremy Shockey.
Shockey just 1 catch for 8 yards on the afternoon. Bulger, incomplete, intended for Jackson. And kind of a critical drive right now for the Rams. They started off in excellent field position after the James Butler interception. They've been able to move against this Saints defense, at least they were in the first half, and you don't want to get 2 scores behind this team.
Right, and the Saints are letting them stay in this game. They've made some mistakes. The Rams have done a good job with time of possession, moving the ball, running the ball effectively. But here on a 3rd and 9, this puts yourself in a tough situation because of the amount of pressure that the Saints can bring.
Rams 4 of 6 on 3rd down tries. They bring a little heat. Gibson, and he stretches for the first down. Lee Torrance on the coverage, but it's the rookie out of Washington State that is making a name for himself.
We talked coming into this play, 3rd and 9, and you're going to play a 10-yard cushion? That doesn't even make any sense. Lee Torrance has got to come up and either go in a press or be about 5 yards off. He's not worried about the receiver running by him. He's worried about him getting the first down. Right there, too big of a cushion on 3rd down, and a great job by Brandon Gibson. Once getting the ball in his hands, getting the first down.
Gibson 5 catches for 61 yards. Jackson cuts back. He's got an opening. He pulls over his own man and gets down to the 40. How's that for being a physical runner? Pardon me, kid.
Brandon Gibson is going to learn quick that when Steven Jackson's running the ball, you better go get contact. Steven Jackson, his vision's good. He does a good job of cutting back. And Brandon Gibson with the tackle. Unfortunately, he's going to learn with Steven. You better get up on your block because he's rolling behind you.
That's the hardest that Gibson's been hit all day. Jackson now 110 yards on the day. It's his 3rd straight 100-yard effort. Leaves it 2nd and short. Daniel Fells, the backup tight end, in motion. Bulger looking. Has a man, and it is Fells down at the 25. He gets up and gets down to the 21. Broke the tackle of Scott Fujita.
Great job by Mark Bulger in the pocket. Comes out with the play fake. You can see his eyes are front side. He's trying to get backside. Does a good job of keeping his feet. The offensive linemen keep playing. Mark steps up. Has a way of finding Daniel Fells. He's always on the move. There's a deep safety there you can't see on the screen, but Fells sees that Bulger's having trouble. He works his way back and is able to get in the vision of Mark, who puts the throw in there.
Bulger hits Avery and the ball is dropped. Avery wants a flag on Malcolm Jenkins, the rookie who has been pressed into action because both starting corners are now down for the Saints.
This is man-to-man coverage. Donnie Avery's crossing the field. Malcolm Jenkins does a good job. Donnie Avery's looking for an interference. I don't know what he's looking for. He's just got to hang on to the ball. He's had some struggles in recent weeks with hanging on to the ball. He's had some drops. Right there was the ball that he could have had.
Three receivers set for the Rams on 2nd and 10. Jackson again up the middle, has a little room. And with that run, he is now past Lawrence McCutcheon and is in 3rd place in the Rams' all-time rushing list behind only Eric Dickerson and Marshall Faulk. Not a bad list to be on.
Pretty good short list, and Steven's got a lot of years to play. He keeps grinding it out this way. He's going to keep climbing up that chart.
He is now over 900 rushing yards on the season. He would be the first Rams back ever with 5 1,000-yard rushing seasons. On 3rd and 3, Bulger looking. Throws it for McMichael, who has to go off his hands, covered by Roman Harper.
Now that's a play that they could have potentially had pass interference on. Roman Harper never turns around to locate the ball, and when Randy McMichael goes up for the ball, there's a collision there at the top. Now you could also say that Randy McMichael threw him by with the hands, so you could have had some offensive pass interference. But you can understand the frustration by the fans here in St. Louis looking for a call.
So now Josh Brown, 7 of 10 this year in field goal tries, lines it up from 32 yards out. And the Rams turn the turnover into more points. They are within 4 as the Saints lead it 21-17. Well, the Rams just tacked on their 17th point. As you can see, they were the lowest scoring team in the league coming into today's game. The most they've scored all year, 20 in a game. And last time Josh Brown put foot to football, Courtney Roby returned it 97 yards for a touchdown.
When we look at what the Rams are trying to do on this play, you've got Carney in the backfield who's going to run a flat route. You've got an isolation route by the receiver and a crossing route by the backside. What they're going to do is you come off the play fake. Normally that's called a flood route. You do a lot of those in the red zone, but Randy McMichael goes to the ground and drags across. So people are saying, why not throw to Carney who's open in the flat? That's because it was a built-in throwback and Mark wasn't even looking to the flat. If they had had that play called to work the flood side of it, then obviously Mark just flips it into the flat. But because that's a predetermined play, hey, we're going to try and flood the field and do the throwback, that's why it wasn't thrown.
Well, the Saints start the drive with Mike Bell in the backfield. I haven't heard much from him since the first part of the game. Gain of about 2. James Laurinaitis, the rookie out of Ohio State, who has so impressed the coaching staff here in St. Louis. Not easy playing in the middle of that defense.
That's where they're going to address. They've talked about that potentially going into the free agency or the draft is working on the interior of the line. They drafted Chris Long a couple years ago, defensive end. James Hall has played some outside and some inside. Leonard Little has been a force on the left side for them for a long time.
Reggie Bush off tackle, has some space. Look out, folks. Reggie cuts back, and O.J. Atogwe makes the tackle. A 55-yard run for Reggie Bush, the longest of his career.
Give credit to the Saints offensive line. Jahari Evans and John Stinchcomb running to the right side, creates a hole for Reggie Bush. He is untouched as he breaks into the secondary of the Rams. You get Reggie in the open field. He's a playmaker, and he's going to make guys miss. Good job by the Rams to rally and make the tackle down there, but that hole was incredible for Reggie to run through.
Pierre Thomas off the right side gets close to the 20. Dragged down by a host of Rams, including Justin King. Reggie Bush, for years, everybody has said, how should Sean Payton properly use him? Well, I think today they've kind of figured it out.
They've done a good job of mixing it up. We talked about the triple threat in the backfield, Pierre Thomas, Mike Bell, Reggie Bush. They've done a good job of rotating all three backs, keeping everyone fresh. So when they have a crease like that, they've got the speed and the energy reserve to make it happen.
End around to Marcus Colston, as we call his name for the first time today. Tackled by James Butler, shy of the first down. It's the second time the Saints have run that play. Earlier with Robert Meacham, it gained 41 yards. This time just a few.
You have to do that as an offense to keep the defense honest. Right now the Rams are being very aggressive in their defensive philosophy, and it's worked well for them. Yes, the Saints have gotten some big plays because of that aggressiveness, but that's also what's keeping the Rams in this game.
Saints 5 of 6 on third down tries. Pierre Thomas, the lone back in the backfield, and he'll get the quick pitch. He has some space with Stinchcomb in front of him. Thomas gets the first down and gets it inside the 10, dragged down by C.J. Aiyuk.
That's a lot of big guys rolling out in front of the running back. Pierre Thomas is patient when he gets the pitch. He's working the right side of the line. When you're a cornerback, you're a secondary player, and you see these big boys running out after you, you better protect yourself because they're going to knock that pile back. Good job by the Saints. Good play call and picking up the first down to give them first and goal.
Reggie Bush, already with 2 touchdowns today, is lined up in the backfield next to Breeze. Now he goes in motion. Breeze looking, hits Colston. Dives, he loses the ball. Out of the end zone, and that will be a touchback.
You gotta like the effort by Marcus Colston, knowing he's trying to get in the end zone, working really hard to get in the end zone, but you also have to understand.
Another look as Colston reaches for the end zone. The question is, where did the ball come out? The hit by O.J. Atagwe, and the ball goes out of the end zone. And watch Breeze's reaction. So the Saints, they could smell the end zone, but Colston is denied. The Rams with the ball at their own 20 after forcing the Saints' 3rd turnover today, and their 13th for the Saints now in the last 3.5 games. And another whistle and a false start on the Rams.
False start. Offense. Number 70. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's the left tackle, Alex Barron.
Marcus Colston, as he approaches the goal line, goes the jump, and you can see O.J. Atagwe gets in there, and he gets his helmet as Colston is reaching the ball out. So there's no need for a replay there. I think the Saints saw that, realized that as Colston was reaching for the goal line, that's when the ball was popped out.
And that really could be a game-saving play. You get down 11 points against the Saints going into the 4th quarter, and who knows? Jackson wrapped up for a loss by Charles Grant. And now let's remember the Marcus Colston, just 1 catch last week in the win against Carolina. He said it was one of his worst games as a pro. Pretty much non-existent until this drive where he had the end around and then his first catch today. But turnovers have been a huge problem. You talked about them at the beginning of the game, Trent.
And the Saints have to understand, keeping that ball in their possession, not giving the Rams field position. This instance, it wasn't field position, it was points they gave up.
Jackson out of the backfield tries the spin move, but it is Roman Harper, the leading tackler for the Saints, dragging him down.
We've talked all day about Steven Jackson, his ability to break tackles, his ability to run through arm tackles. Here Steven Jackson's going to get in the open field. Mark does a good job of looking downfield, getting to a secondary receiver, hitting Steven Jackson. Roman Harper with a great open field tackle, going after Steven Jackson's weapons. That's his legs.
3 receivers set on 3rd and 17. Bulger hits Avery, gets dragged down well shy of the first down. And right now, let's check in with Curt Menefee in a game break.
The Lions running back Kevin Smith fumbled on his own 28-yard line. Minnesota takes it over in the first play. Adrian Peterson goes 27 yards to the 1. On the play after that, he ran it in for a touchdown. It's 17-3 Minnesota on top in the 3rd quarter. Chris and Trent.
All right, thank you, Curt. The Vikings looking to move to 8-1 on the season, fighting it out for home field advantage in the NFC. Dare you think that far ahead with these Saints. Donnie Jones on a punted away to Reggie Bush, who's averaging less than 4 yards per return this season. Bush takes it at the 32. Cuts back inside. There is a flag down. And so too is Reggie Bush at the 45 after a 13-yard return. Chris Chamberlain on the coverage. Now this one's going to be against the Saints, it looks like.
During the return, holding number 24 of the return team. 10-yard penalty, 1st down, New Orleans.
That's Lee Torrance, backup defensive back. So now the Saints and Sean Payton will be backed up. Well, Fox's football coverage doesn't end when the games are over. Afterward, just stick around for the OT. That's when Curt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy bring you exclusive interviews, extended highlights. They're even going to reveal the new BCS standings, America's #1 post-game show. It is the OT presented by Lowe's, coming up after the late games only on Fox.
The good thing about the Rams, they changed the field position after getting the turnover. The fumble by Colston through the end zone gives them the ball on the 20. Just like they've done all year. They shot themselves in the foot with a penalty early, gave themselves long down in distance. But with that punt and with the penalty, they've made it a long field again for the Saints.
Pierre Thomas up the gut. Gets about 4.
That's one of the first times today we've seen that wrinkle from the Rams defense. Ron Bartell came on a corner blitz there. Whether it was supposed to be a run blitz or a pass blitz, it didn't really matter. They were trying to bring extra pressure. And like we talked with Coach Spagnuolo going into this game, they were going to change a lot of personnel groups, change a lot of groups, give Drew Brees some confusion to try and mess up the rhythm of this offense.
An intent-looking coach's booth here in St. Louis. 2nd and 5, Brees out of the shotgun. Quick toss to Henderson. He's got it. He splits the defenders and gets it past the 40 for another big play by Devery Henderson. James Butler in on the stop. And if the Saints so wish, that would be the final play of the 3rd quarter.
Devery Henderson does a nice job on that catch with his strength of his hands. You saw the Rams defender trying to rip that ball out of there. He does a good job securing the ball before the collision after the 1st down.
And that will do it for the 3rd quarter, which started with a 97-yard kickoff return by Courtney Roby, and the Saints lead the Rams by 4. Steven Jackson trying to catch his breath here in St. Louis. The Rams offense really hung in there and have a time of possession lead, but they don't have the scoreboard lead. So we begin the 4th. Drew Brees to Pierre Thomas, dragged down by Darrell Scott, rookie out of Clemson. So it'll be 2nd and 5 and really a key possession. If you're thinking about it, for the Rams defense, they've got to stay within at least a touchdown of these guys, don't you think?
You would think so. The way this game is unfolding, the Rams defense, they gave up a lot of yards on the last possession. They've done a good job most of the day of keeping the Saints offense controlled. Last series they got the turnover down by the goal line, but they did give up some yards. So they've got to hold them to a field goal or even better, hold them to a punt.
Mike Bell in the backfield, and there's a flag on the play. Looked like the right side of the line moved.
False start. Offense, number 80, 5-yard penalty, second down.
That is the third tight end, Darnell Dinkins, the 8th-year man out of Pitt.
The Saints offense has done a good job of mixing things up. They've ran a couple reverses today. They ran the dish play earlier to Reggie Bush where they faked the fullback one direction, dish it out to the tailback going the other direction. And then on this last set of downs on first down, they tried the screen on first down. Just good pursuit by the defensive line to make that tackle.
3 receivers set for the Saints. Breeze, plenty of time, and he hits David Thomas underneath. Gets for the first down and is spun out of bounds by Laurinaitis. David Thomas, the backup tight end to Jeremy Shockey, with his 5th catch today, had only 7 coming into the game.
He's been a big part of it. We talked about the wide receivers not being a real big part of the Saints offense so far. The last series they got involved a little bit, but right now the tight ends have been the main target for Drew Brees in this Saints offense.
Play action for Brees. He hits Colston. Gets dragged down close to another first down, about a yard shy. Ron Bartell on the coverage. Bartell, you mentioned earlier today, a guy that Sean Payton wanted to bring over, free agency. Instead, he opted to stay here, signed a 4-year, $28 million deal. Almost half of that money guaranteed.
He's a player that Sean Payton has a lot of respect for. They pursued him, like you mentioned, in free agency. They have a lot of respect for him coming into this game, and they've stayed away from him for the most part today.
2 tight end formation. It's Kyle Eckel, the fullback, plowing forward. And the Navy man gets it down to the 27 for another Saints first down as they continue to move the chains.
And we talked to Sean Payton about Kyle Eckel because of the fact he's new. He's only been here for a few weeks because of the injury. Kyle Eckel now has stepped in with the 2 weeks he's had, the 3 weeks he's had to learn this offense. Sean Payton feels very comfortable with Kyle understanding all the packages that he's involved in, as opposed to keeping things very limited for him.
4th all-time at the Naval Academy in rushing yards and touchdowns. Gave the Saints a first down, and here Brees looking to the end zone. Touchdown, Meacham.
Quincy Butler decides to go to undercut the receiver. He goes to undercut the receiver, knock the ball away, get in position for the interception. He goes in position for the interception, decides to undercut it. Drew Brees is just too accurate down the field. He can't get up there and reach for it. Meacham gets a touchdown. That's the momentum swing that the Saints needed.
John Carney on to add the PAT. And now the Saints have a double-digit lead. Robert Meacham, 4th touchdown catch of the year, and the Saints are up 11.
Today's game is sponsored by Hyundai. 'Tis the season to fill your commute with comfort and joy during Hyundai Holidays. By Walmart. Christmas costs less at Walmart. Save money, live better, Walmart. And by Budweiser. With full flavor and a crisp, clean finish, it's what we do.
Robert Meacham with his 4th touchdown catch of the year. Still holding on to that football, by the way, Trent.
You know, the wide receivers haven't been a big part of the offense up until these last 2 drives, and I think he's going to hang on to that one for a while, just to remind Drew Brees, hey, get it in our hands a little bit.
Another perfect drive by Brees, 5 for 5, and he has that Rams defense a little gassed and down 11 points. Amendola watches it hop around and spin into the end zone, and he is going to take a knee. So the 1-7 Rams have played well. Can they get it going, kiddo? We'll find out. Rams down double digits for the first time today. If you're offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur, how much does that take Steven Jackson and the ground game out of your O?
Well, I think with 12 minutes to go in the game, you have to stick with the game plan and what's been working up until this point.
Oh, here is Jackson, and there is Charles Grant. Hi. How are you? Grant has played an outstanding second half.
With the isolation that Grant has on Jason Smith, that's just something he's going to win. Right now he wins that one-on-one battle, and you're able to wrap up Steven Jackson in the backfield before he gets those legs rolling.
Smith, of course, the second overall pick in this year's draft out of Baylor, playing at right tackle. Most people think he's going to move over to the left side eventually. As Jackson again, as they stick with the ground game and has very little room to roam. Scott Fujita back after missing 3 games with a calf injury, in on the stop. Jackson with just 17 yards in the second half on the ground.
Well, I think you can hear the frustration from some of the Ram fans, but like I mentioned at the beginning of this drive, stick with what's working. It's not a time to panic. 3rd and long, you're a little more pressed to try and get the ball up the field, but with 12 minutes to go, stick with your game plan.
Remember the injury to Keenan Burton in the first half. A leg injury, so only 3 receivers. And he dumps it off to Jackson, who's tackled well shy of the first down. Marvin Mitchell, Malcolm Jenkins combine on the stop. And for the first time, the boos ring down.
And that's not the way you would like your offense to respond. Yes, you stick with your game plan, but your game plan has been running the ball, pounding the ball, using some play action. Bolger's had some success with bootlegs, getting outside of the pocket. That was not the response to the Saints scoring drive that you were hoping for.
Donnie Jones to boot it away. Reggie Bush at his own 30, and he's going to step out of bounds, but there is a flag. The Rams are all pointing at the Saints. Of course they are.
Reggie may want to protect himself a little bit better when he's heading out of bounds, too. He's going to take a cheap shot on his knees.
During the return, holding. 31 of the return team. 10-yard penalty. First down, New Orleans. Timeout.
Pearson Prelude with the hold, and the Saints will start deep in their own end.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Visa. Visa debit is easier than cash. More people go with Visa.
The Saints had just 91 total yards in the first quarter. They were held scoreless for just the 5th quarter this year in 33 quarters. But since then, they've been running all over the field, and Steve Spagnuolo's defense, actually they've been running and throwing and returning kicks as well, if you want to throw that in there. Now it's Mike Bell up the middle to the 25, gain of 1.
Along those same lines, Chris, we talked with Greg Williams with the Saints, and he was saying that this coaching staff does such a great job of complementing one another. The offensive staff and the defensive staff, when they put their game plans together, they do such a good job of complementing each other. And the way they make adjustments at halftime, it goes right along with what you're saying. The adjustments they made at halftime and what they've been able to do and come out this second half on both sides of the ball have been impressive.
And that's why they're closing in on a 9-game winning streak, something they haven't done in 18 years. Breeze to throw it. Looks downfield for Shockey. He hasn't. We got past James Butler. He has the Saints right near midfield, and another first down. 25-yard pitch and catch from Breeze to Shockey.
The tight ends have been a big part of this passing game today. And once again, Jeremy Shockey coming off the line, mats up one-on-one with Butler. You see he gives a nod to the inside, gets outside. Drew Brees is so accurate when it comes to throwing the ball down the field. We saw the touchdown pass earlier to Meacham where he placed it just over the outstretched hand of the defender. There he gets it over the top of Butler's head and puts it right on the money for Shockey to come up with the catch.
Drew Brees is going to have to burn a timeout as the play clock was dwindling down. But Drew Brees has the Saints on the move at midfield with an 11-point lead. All right, the Saints are the first down. There's a flag on the play. Breeze looking deep downfield. The ball tipped away by James Laurinaitis, the rookie middle linebacker who had dropped into coverage. But let's see what the flag's all about.
Offside, defense, nose tackle, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, that is just a crusher for the Rams.
And even though they're going to get the 5 yards, Drew Brees is going to be mad at himself. He's been so accurate with the ball down the field. We've touched on it. The fact that Laurinaitis was able to jump up and get a hand on that. You don't care that the defense is offside if you're able to get a big play up the field. So Drew's going to be mad at himself for that. But no harm, no foul, 1st and 5.
But plenty of harm and foul for the Rams defense that desperately needs a stop or a turnover or something. And it's not that, which is another Saints first down by Mike Bell. Once again, we're seeing the interchangeable running backs. Sean Payton in this offense, something you mentioned earlier. They started the game out with Bell. Reggie Bush has a couple of touchdowns. Pierre Thomas has had a solid day, and now that is Chris Long, who seems to be dinged up a bit, pointing to his right knee.
And that's what makes the Saints offense such a tough offense to defend. We've mentioned all the weapons that are at Drew Boswell from a passing game standpoint. But from a running game standpoint, when you're able to rotate your 3 backs, you're able to wear down the defense. They're going to get tired towards the end of games. You have 3 fresh backs. You're rotating them the entire time. That's the impressive thing about a back like Steven Jackson for the Rams. He's the workhorse. He's the one getting all the carries, and he just grinds out and wears that defense down with his power style of running.
So we will take an injury timeout as the Rams attend to Chris Long. You see number 72, Chris Long. He hobbled off the field under his own power with a slight limp, and the man in front of him is wide receiver Keenan Burton, who was injured in the first half. He's sitting on the Rams training table with crutches. Breeze in the meantime a little low, intended for Devery Henderson.
One of the few mistakes that Drew's made this second half.
You know, slowly but surely, the numbers just pile up for this potent Saints offense. They're up to 411 total yards. And then, of course, they also had the 97-yard kickoff return on top of that. This is an offense that averages more than 425 yards per game, almost 38 points. As we said, they're on pace to set the single-season scoring mark in NFL history. Mike Bell trying to bounce it outside. Dragged down by Quincy Butler.
The impressive thing about the Saints offense today, we mentioned, and you showed the stat a little bit ago, Chris, is the fact that they struggled in the first quarter. They didn't have any points in the first quarter. They were limited in terms of yardage for them in the first quarter. What's been impressive is the fact that they've made adjustments. They got some things going in the second quarter. They got on the board. And here in the second half, they've made some real adjustments and have been able to move the ball both in the pass and the run game.
Critical 3rd and 7 for the Rams defense. Breeze all day to throw. The ball kicked away by Leonard Little, the Rams' all-time sack leader. And now the question is, if you're Sean Payton, you go for it, or do you punt it? It looks like he's going to send on the punting unit. For just a second, he was toying with the idea.
Well, because you're right in the middle of that range. You know, John Carney has had an unbelievable NFL career, but whether or not he's going to kick a 54, 55-yard field goal, or do you take the punt that could potentially be, a 20, 25-yard net? I think with them having a double-digit score lead, you go ahead and punt, make the Rams drive the field.
And there's going to be a roughing the punter penalty, or is that going to be running into the punter? It certainly looked like roughing. Craig Dahl did the damage on Thomas Morstead.
Gene is holding up 5, telling the Saints line, the sideline, that it's only going to be 5 yards, which would be surprising because I thought it was more of a roughing penalty than a running into penalty.
That's Gene Steratore, the referee. I know you're on a first-name basis since you're a quarterback. You're allowed to use that.
You get to know him.
Running into the kicker. Defense, 5-yard penalty, replay 4th down.
Take another look at this and see whether or not it should have been the 5 or the 15.
Well, the interesting thing with this penalty, it ends up being a running into the penalty, but now because of that 5-yard gain, the Saints are bringing their offense back out on the field, and I don't know if that's necessary too.
So 4th and 2. The Rams would have gotten the ball back. And now if they can stop the Saints, they would actually get the ball in great range here at the 31. 3 receivers set. Shockey also split out. Here Thomas in the backfield. The Saints 2 for 7 this year on 4th down. Are they just trying to draw them off sides? That's exactly what they were trying to do. So now what? Do you send the field goal unit out? Do you keep your offense out there, or the punting unit? I'm going to put it
on me.
Yeah, I'm going to put it on you.
Me? If it's me, I'm going for it.
Of course you are.
You're an offensive guy you're talking to here. And I know as an offense and as a quarterback leading a prolific offense like the Saints have, you want to go for it every time. And when the game is potentially on the line here, where if you get the first down, you can put the Rams away and finish this game up. I know as a quarterback, Drew Brees is going to be politicking to go for this thing.
Well, John Carney is 45 years old. It would be a 48-yard field goal if he'd try it from here. His long this year is only 46. I don't think Mr. Carney is too pleased with the decision either.
Well, I think it's well within his range. It's just a matter of you're giving them the ball. If you miss the field goal, you're going to give him the ball at the 39-yard line. If you don't get this first down, you're giving it to him at the 30.
They give it to Kyle Eckel, who is going to be stopped shy of the first down by a host of Rams, including Harris Lennon. So after all that, the high-powered Saints give it to a 250-pound fullback.
I have a hard time criticizing Sean Payton and what this offense can do. They are obviously moving the ball up and down the field. They've been doing it all season long. But to give the ball to Kyle Eckel in that situation, it was really more to try and catch the Rams defense off guard. Kyle gets the ball here. You see Mike Bell in the backfield on the swing pattern. Drew Brees gives the fake pitch like he's going to him. Good job by the Rams defense stepping up. Now it's time for the Rams offense to answer.
Bolger out of the shotgun. Ball in the air, in and out of the midst of McMichael, and Jonathan Vilma almost had an INT.
Those are dangerous, dangerous footballs. When you see that ball floating in the middle of the field, that generally ends up in a pick like that. Mark puts a little juice on this ball. He tries squeezing it in there between the defenders, and whether or not Randy was ready for that heat, didn't respond real well. The ball gets tipped up. Fortunately for the Rams, it hit the ground. They get another shot.
Steve Spagnuolo trying to keep his defense's energy up, but the offense has got to get it going. It's Jackson on the delay, trying to pop outside. He gets dragged down from behind by Jonathan Vilma. Jackson a little bit shy of the first down, about 1.5 yards.
But compared to the last series, this is a much more manageable down and distance. They were 3rd and 10 last time. Now they're 3rd and short.
Are you surprised that the head coach, with under 7 minutes to go and down 11, is on the sidelines chopping at the D?
You got to remember his background. You can't get that out of your blood. He's going to get over there and get in the ear of that defense, and I'm sure he's giving them some praise for that big 4th down stop.
Bolger looking. Oh, in and out of the hands of Amendola, who would have had all day to run.
I'm not sure if he would have scored on that play, but he definitely would have gotten into field goal range, which at the minimum is what the Rams have to have right now. Mark does a good job with his vision, sliding in the pocket, buying time, puts the ball in position to where Amendola can catch it, get yards after the catch. This is a must-have 4th down for the Rams. Now, you can understand the frustration on Bolger's part.
Amendola, a guy signed off of the Eagles practice squad in late September. It's actually been somewhat of a nice find. The 2 tight end set. Wonder if 39 is going to get this. He does, and he doesn't. Will Smith, the former Pro Bowler, coming up money as both defenses come up with critical 4th down stops. Greg Williams, all smiles on the sideline.
And he has reason to smile. 4th down, Steven Jackson's been pounding it up in there. You can see Shanley comes in for the isolation on Carney, blows up the hole. The penetration by the defensive line, the penetration by the linebackers. to stop Steven Jackson before he gets moving downhill and pushing that pile. Good job by the Saints defense.
But obviously that series was lost on the miss to Amendola, who, as I said, would have had all day to run and continued the drive. Instead, it's the Saints with the ball and the lead, and that is Mike Bell getting it down to the 36.
Well, now you got to change your sense of urgency if you're the Rams. We talked about staying with the game plan, staying with what's been working. But now with an 11-point game, 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, you may have to consider start using some of those timeouts. Start bringing blitzes that leave your secondary isolated one-on-one matchups, because you have to take those risks. You have to take those chances.
Two tight end set with both Shockey and Thomas in the game for the Saints. It's Pierre Thomas off the left side. Laurinaitis and Larry Grant spin him down.
With the two tight end set, the two back set, the Rams actually had 9 players in the box on defense, leaving isolation up top one-on-one with Ron Bartel and Meacham.
Chris Long back into the game. He was injured a little bit earlier. We talked about the balance of this attack, and you can see it is almost even between run and pass, but on 3rd and 4 with so many options, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for them to run the ball again, go with the draw, go with the screen. Try and get something very sure-handed that keeps this clock running.
It is Reggie Bush in the backfield. Breeze is pressured and dropped by Chris Long. His 2nd sack of the season.
I think his knee's feeling pretty good. You can see the isolation on the bottom of the screen with Thomas one-on-one. Chris Long is coming off the edge one-on-one. Drew Brees looks for the hits to Thomas. He looks to the swing to Reggie Bush. Good coverage by the Rams, and Chris Long, his never quit attitude, was able to drive back and get in and get the sack of Drew Brees.
Morstead on to punt it. Last time we saw him, there was a running into the punter penalty. Amendola lays out a Saint at the goal line. It was Courtney Roby. So Amendola perhaps frustrated a little earlier by that critical 3rd down drop. Takes it out on a Roby, who says, yeah, you know what, I'll take that. Plus my 97-yard kickoff return and my 11-point lead.
Amendola realizes that the ball is going to be placed inside the 5-yard line, if not inside the end zone. Realizes that Roby is looking in the air, trying to locate the ball so he can down it. Good job by Amendola going over and knocking him off so he can't tip the ball back in play. But you're right, Chris. I think some of the frustration from that drop a few minutes ago may have unloaded on Courtney Roby.
Well, Chris Long in this defense, yes, they've given up 28 points to the Saints. Actually, the defense only 21, but still they have played a tough physical game. And here Bulger swings it out to Jackson, and he's going to lose some yards. All right, now let's send it out to Kirk Menefee in Los Angeles with a game break.
Redskins in Denver, and Jason Campbell hooking up with Devin Thomas, who makes a couple of nice moves after the catch. They gained 27 yards on the play. It sets up a Liddell Betts touchdown run. And with less than 3 minutes to go, the Redskins have a lead 24-17 over the Broncos. Chris and Trent.
Thank you, Kurt. The struggling Redskins. We'll see what John Riggins has to say about that. Brandon Gibson has something to say, like, I got another catch and another 1st down. Sidestep the tackle of Lee Torrance. And Brandon Gibson barely had a shot before today, but he has made the impression.
Well, Brandon Gibson was thrust into playing time because of the injury to Keenan Burton, and he stepped up big today. They have utilized him on a number of short routes. Mark is able to get the ball out of his hands quick. With the one-on-one pressure, the one-on-one secondary coverage that the Saints are showing, he's done a good job of getting the ball in his hands, making that first guy miss and getting vertical.
Under 4 minutes to go, Rams with the full complement of timeouts. Jackson gains about 7, gets it close to midfield. Torrance on the stop. And now Bulger going no huddle. Not exactly the strength of the Rams offense.
No, with only 3 wide receivers still dressed, it's not a strength right now, but the Rams definitely have to get in position for at least a field goal.
Daniel Fells with a tight end, upended by Harper. Alex Barron, the left tackle, a little banged up, as is Bobby McCray, Saints defensive lineman. In fact, that's why the clock is stopped. Well, the Saints defense, hard hit. They've been taking a licking too. Jonathan Vilma early on. And, well, I think it took about 13 or 14 Saints to bring Steven Jackson down on that one.
It has most of the day, and we talked to Greg Williams once again about the attitude that he wanted to bring to this Saints defense. He wanted to change the atmosphere on the defensive side of the ball. He was very interested about coming to New Orleans because he knew with the offense that the Saints had, he'd be playing a lot of times with the lead. And as a defensive coordinator, that can change up your play calling. When you know you have an offense like that and you know you're going to be playing with a lead most of the time, you can take more risks. You can take more chances with your stunts and your blitzes up front.
Well, they forced another turnover today, an interception by Usama Young. 25 takeaways, leads the NFL, but also you're taking away some key components on that defense. No Cedric Ellis today, yet again. No Darren Sharper, no Jabari Greer, and Tracy Porter injured as well. Carted off the field with an apparent knee injury. So new personnel in the secondary. And Mark Bulger trying to take advantage. It is Fells again who gets it down to the 20 before being stopped by Harper.
Good job by Bulger putting some zip on the ball. Jonathan Vilma had dropped into middle coverage. That was a cover 2 look. Jonathan Vilma had dropped into middle coverage. Mark was able to put enough zip on the ball to where Jonathan Vilma couldn't come over and get a hand on that ball.
Bulger and the Rams use their first time out. They are in the red zone yet again, and this Rams offense, this is really the most productive they have been all season, the most fluid.
It looks like they finally had some rhythm. You know, you talked earlier about the fact they're the lowest scoring team in the NFL. They're averaging under 10 points a game. But what they've been able to do today, if you take away the red zone interception that Mark had earlier in the first quarter, they've been able to move this football. They've been able to control the clock. They've had success in the red zone, which they haven't been able to have for most of the season. So now that they've got the ball down in the red zone again, 2:50 left to go in the game. It'd be great to get a touchdown, but it is a 2-score game, so you definitely want to get a field goal. Don't take any undue risks. Touchdown would be great. 2-point conversion potential.
Bulger looking for Avery. He's got it, and it's a touchdown.
Donnie Avery is coming up big today. We talked about in the opening one-on-one matchups these wide receivers are going to have. Donnie Avery has a one-on-one matchup there. Mark Bulger puts the ball up, puts it in position to where he can have success with Randall Gay. One-on-one. See down here at the bottom of your screen. Oh, that's the inside slot receiver. On the outside is Randall Gay and Donnie Avery. He goes up. He does a good job of not only securing the ball with the catch, but getting both feet in bounds.
Now they are going to go for 2. The Rams this year, it is their first 2-point conversion attempt. Bulger out of the shotgun with Jackson in the backfield. Looking, and it is incomplete. Intended for Fells, who got lit up there in the end zone.
They tried to get isolation. One-on-one, Donnie Avery, great job of ball control, but keeping his feet and getting that second foot in bounds. Jumping over the top of Randall Gay. Another touchdown for Donnie Avery. Another touchdown for Mark Bulger.
Bulger has had a huge day with 263 yards passing and a couple of scores. Both of them to that man, the second-year man out of Houston, Donnie Avery, the first receiver taken in the 2008 draft. Let's show you the 2-point conversion try for Daniel Fells. Right in the gut.
Daniel Fells, they decided to isolate one-on-one on the outside. The Saints matched it with Roman Harper. They put him out on the edge, one-on-one. The ball's right on Daniel Fells' stomach. You can see Roman Harper gets his right hand around Daniel Fells' waist to pull his arm or knock that ball out of there. But that's good ball placement by Bulger.
And now the Saints are expecting an onside kick. But the Rams still have 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning, so if they wish to, they could kick it deep. As you can see, Less than a quarter of the onside kicks are successful in the NFL, at least through the first 9 weeks of the year. Brown's going to try it anyway, and it is caught by Colston, and he is down at the 42. So Marcus Colston, who's had a hard time hanging on to the ball today, gets it when it's most critical. You agree with that?
I'm not a big fan of that. With 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning, you've got to come in, put the ball down in there because it's a field position game now. On this onside kick, you can see the Rams do a good job. The Saints do a good job of coming up and isolating, but your chances are so slim. You mentioned the percentage chances of actually recovering an onside kick. But with 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning, the fact that Reggie Bush was about the 20 or 25-yard line, you almost could have punched it down to about the 10 or the 5 and try and get the ball to die down there.
Mike Bell in the backfield, and he'll get the rock and has some space, both arms on the football, and the clock is stopped. So that is a 30-second timeout charge to the Rams, who still have the 2-minute warning, but that was much too much to give up on first down.
Well, it was. And even now, if you end up getting a couple yards, they're going to go for it on 4th down again to try and keep the clock running, because a field goal, it's still going to make it a 1-possession game.
Well, the Saints looking to move to 9-0 for the first time in their history. Next week, taking on Tampa Bay, and then after that, the New England Patriots on a Monday nighter. Reggie Bush a few weeks ago mentioned the perfect season. Most of the Saints were quick to squash that idea.
Yeah, don't start talking about this early.
It's Pierre Thomas in the backfield. He'll get the rock and get stopped shy of the first down. And another timeout burned by the Rams. That'll be their last one. Well, we're just getting going here on Football Sunday on Fox. Coming up next, game 2 of the doubleheader. Most of you will see the Cowboys take on the Packers. Some will get the Eagles and the Chargers. A critical game out west for Andy Reid and the boys as they took it on the chin, courtesy on the Cowboys last Sunday night. That's all coming your way right here on Fox. Coming right here is the biggest play of the game for Steve Spagnuolo and his defense. It is 3rd and 3. What will Drew Brees and that Saints offense throw at him?
Well, I think that what you're trying to do here is you're trying to run the ball or do a very secure pass, because you want it to take it down to the 2-minute warning. There's 2:32 to go in the game. Get a couple yards, get the clock running, make it a critical 4th down. You want to get the stop if you're the Rams.
Brees incomplete. Intended for Henderson. And now, who do the Saints send out onto the field?
There have been a couple of these game management decisions that I guess you want to scratch your head at a little bit. I don't want to second guess Sean Payton. He's done an incredible job with this offense. But the fact now that the Rams are going to get the ball back and they'll still have the 2-minute warning to deal with gives the Rams hope. It gives them a chance.
Morstead to punt it away to Amendola. And, well, I mean, if it's Australian rules football, it's great. I don't know exactly what the idea of that punt was. To almost punt it into the crowd.
Well, that was a net punt of 15 yards. If you're going to punt it out of the back of the end zone, just go for it. But hey, they're undefeated. We're not. So those are the decisions they're making, and now it's time for their defense. Greg Williams, we talked about it, bringing in a new attitude, bringing in a new approach. This Rams offense is going to try and respond. They do have the 2-minute warning. That'll be a timeout. Let's see what Greg Williams has for him.
Yeah, that's Greg McMahon, the special teams coach, who I think is sitting there wondering what his rookie punter was doing right there. So now it's up to Mark Bulger, who has a season-high 263 passing yards. Hands it off to Steven Jackson. Gets it up to the 26-yard line. Let's remember the Rams, no timeouts, and There are some whistles, though. After some pushing and shoving, you got to be careful here. And this will take it down to the 2-minute warning. Well, the Rams need a touchdown to hand the Saints their first loss. We want to welcome those of you that watch the Carolina Panthers upend the Atlanta Falcons today. Chris Rose, Trent Green, Rob Desir, and maybe we are watching the upset of the season. The St. Louis Rams have scored a season-high 23 points. They have the ball 74 yards away from taking the lead against the New Orleans Saints. That's the 8-0 New Orleans Saints. No timeouts left for the Rams, as Bulger is flushed out of the pocket. He gets the first down, and he gets out of bounds.
Greg Williams decides to show Mark Bulger a blitz. Brings the secondary, brings the linebackers up on the line of scrimmage, but then bails them out of there, drops them out of there, rushes 3, puts people into coverage. Mark doesn't have anybody open because they've dropped 8 into coverage. Does a good job with his feet. Not only getting the first down, but getting out of bounds.
We want to welcome those of you that have just joined us. The Rams with the ball, no timeouts left, down 5 with 1:52 left. Mark Bulger just ran for a first down and got out of bounds. Now looking deep downfield, and the ball not even close to Brandon Gibson.
Good job by Mark just to get that ball off. Malcolm Jenkins was on the slot coming from his right-hand side, and Mark was locked in on the receiver on the left-hand side of the field. Never saw Malcolm Jenkins on that blitz.
The Saints secondary depleted. 3 of their 4 usual starters not there. Darren Sharper, Jabari Greer, both inactive. They also lost Tracy Porter during the game to a knee injury. The Rams are down to just 3 healthy receivers as well. Keenan Burton out with a knee injury. Bulger hits Jackson out of the backfield. He's going to be about 4 yards shy of the first down. The clock continues to run. No timeouts left for the Rams. Under 1.5 minutes to go. Bulger incomplete, intended for McMichael.
The Saints have done a good job of mixing up pressure and dropping into coverage. It's hard to communicate sometimes in a 2-minute defense what you're going to do. They've done a good job of mixing it up, giving different looks to Mark Bulger, blitzing linebackers, blitzing secondary, and dropping into coverage. This is the game right here on 4th down.
And a lot of new faces in that Saints secondary for defensive coordinator Greg Williams. So it comes down to this, 4th and 4. The Saints bring some heat, and the ball, is it caught? The refs say yes. Brandon Gibson grabs it. Now remember, the Saints cannot challenge that play. It has to come from the booth if they look at it.
The previous play is under review.
So indeed, it will be reviewed by the replay booth. Wow. Is that conclusive evidence, Trent Green?
I don't know if it's conclusive from these angles, whether or not it touched the turf. The thing I have to question is, why is Brandon Gibson backing up on the play? Why not run the hitch and come back to the ball? But he's backing away, and that's what causes the ball to go low. He has it in his hands.
Wow. Now the question is, does he complete the catch? Because it looks like the nose of the football did not hit the ground.
I would say, based off of what we've seen, it's got to be conclusive to overturn it. And what we've seen in the replays that we have, I don't see how they can overturn that. I don't think it's conclusive. I think it's a catch.
Once again, it has been ruled a catch on the field. We are under a booth review, under 2 minutes to go. The teams cannot challenge that play. Well, don't forget, this is really just the beginning of an outstanding football Sunday on Fox. Some of you will see the Cowboys up at Lambeau Field, a critical game for the 4-4 Packers. Others will get the Eagles as they head out west for the second time this year. Remember what happened up in Oakland. We'll see what happened to them out in San Diego. But in the meantime, Steve Spagnuolo looking for a winning streak for the first time in his career. They snapped a 17-game franchise losing streak 2 weeks ago in Detroit. Now they're trying to snap an 8-game home losing streak.
Steve Spagnuolo has talked about turning this organization around, turning this team around, and building confidence with the performance they've had today, coming off of their bye week, coming off their first victory 2 weeks ago against Detroit. They played a very good football game. It appears that this play will stand, whether it's conclusive enough to overturn it. There is a rule in the league now, and you can see the officials earlier describing it to Sean Payton. If the receiver has control of the ball and the ball hits the ground, it's still a catch. It's a matter of if he has control of it. And really what changes that rule is right here in 1999 for the NFC Championship game against Tampa Bay. Bert Emanuel with Tampa Bay at the time. He had control of the ball, but the rule at the time was if any part of the ball touches the ground, then it's not a completion. But that rule has been changed. We'll see how they decide right here.
Once again, it was ruled a catch on the field.
After review, the ruling on the field stands is a completed catch. 1st and 10, St. Louis.
The drive continues. Brandon Gibson, the rookie who came over in a trade last month from the Philadelphia Eagles with his 7th catch. And now that Rams offense, which is having a record-setting day, at least in 2009, continues. No timeouts left for the Rams. McMichael bowls his way to another first down. Down to the 42.
The Saints went to a double cloud defense there where you have 3 defensive backs deep and you roll 2 corners, only rushing 3.
Bulger, a screen to Jackson. He's going to stay in the field. Gets it down to only the 38. They might have to spike it here.
The clock's now tipping down just under 30 seconds. It's going to be about 25 seconds before they even get this ball snapped.
Why aren't they spiking it? Bulger looking down for Avery, and it hits the back of Malcolm Jenkins. Avery had Jenkins beat.
He has Jenkins beat one-on-one, and you can see that Randall Gay is held inside by the numbers because of the vertical route by Amendola that's able to hold him. So there was a spot over on the sidelines.
So now under 20 seconds left, you throw anything in the middle of the field, it could be over depending on where that happens. Bulger looking, he does throw it to the middle of the field. Jackson stopped shy of the first down.
And you can't spike it here, it's 4th down. So the Rams have to run a play. It's down to 5 seconds. They have to get the ball in the end zone. Mark has no choice.
Here we go. He's got to throw it to the end zone. Bulger throws it up, looking. Incomplete.
Flag back in the backfield.
That is the end of the game.
And with the holding penalty, Sean Payton and the Saints move to 9-0.
Mark buys some time, runs over in the pocket, puts it up. You can see there's a jump ball. Good job by the Saints. Nobody went for the interception. They were going to knock the ball down, get the ball out of bounds. You can see everybody swinging their hands.